Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Carolyn Baguma, and I'm the Senior Community Program Manager for the World Reimagined, supporting our city coordinators in our host city. We are so excited to be launching the community program in Birmingham City, and we're really here to share the plans that we have for you over the next weeks and month. If you don't know already, the World Reimagined is a groundbreaking arts and education program exploring our shared history around the transatlantic enslavement of African people. The Globe Trails will go live in between August and October, and thanks to Birmingham City Council, as well as our presenting partner Sky, we are creating a moment for change and growth. So over the next 50 minutes, I will introduce you to the World Reimagined team. You will hear about our vision and how we came to be. Then you will share more about the journey of discovery, the artistic program, the heritage program, and then finally the Inspire Community program. We will have an opportunity for questions at the end, so please share your questions in the Q&A or the chat. So before team introductions, please share your name and organizations in your chat if you haven't already. If you do need captioning, please click the buttons at the bottom of the screen to activate transcriptions. So if I could ask the team to join me on screen, and before you all share what drew you here, I would like to share about what drew me here. As a learning and development consultant, I'm really passionate about engaging learning environments, and this is an opportunity to really use art as an intervention tool. And I was really passionate that we would be able to work with all these amazing community organizations doing the work. So I would like to invite Chantel to introduce herself, so if you could.
Hi everyone, I'm Chantel and I work in partnerships at the World Reimagined, and I joined the team because I thought it was a really exciting opportunity as a teacher to be able to have some impact in how this history was explored and addressed in schools, and also as a keen art collector, it just made sense, you know, the element of the art and the education to tell this story and bring it to vivid life. So that's why I joined the World Reimagined team.
Thank you so much for sharing. Esther, if you could share a little bit more about what drew you here.
Hi, I'm Esther Liss-Carew. I'm the Heritage Lead. I'm also a Brummie. And I'm really passionate about the fact that when people talk about histories, they are really often, they exclude some bits of history. And I really liked rom-coms and period dramas growing up. And if you look at those kind of things, it erases a lot of Black history, and I think it's really important to be part of a project that puts that back and re-educates people on our histories, because they are really important parts of British history. So I'm going to pass over to the next person.
Thank you so much. If I could invite Saha to share.
Hi, I'm Saha Bayat, and I am the Communications and Marketing Manager. And one of the reasons why this project has resonated so much with me is because I come from a background of arts and having worked in museums. And I love that we are using art as the form to facilitate what is an incredibly important and needed conversation about British history. And I'm looking forward to seeing how we can all work together to bring that shared history more to the public.
Thank you very much. Garry.
Hi everybody, I'm Garry, I'm Community Coordinator for Birmingham. So I'm really proud to be part of this project as well. I've involved myself in Black heritage and culture now for the last 14 years. I mean, really immersed myself in that as well. And this project came along, it just literally says what it does on the tin. So I'm really proud to be able to represent Birmingham and also the World Reimagined to make sure that this project delivers what it's meant to do. And, you know, I really do mean it has got a purpose, and we will make sure that it does deliver that.
Thank you very much, Garry. And that leads on really well to Dennis, who's going to share a little bit more about how the World Reimagined came to be.
Hi, thank you everybody for joining us today and hearing about the World Reimagined in Birmingham. We've been working with Birmingham City Council for, I think about the last 12, 14 months now, and it's been a really exciting journey. We're hugely grateful for their partnership. We're so excited that this is going to be, taking that the World Reimagined is taking place in Birmingham, and hopefully will be a really powerful legacy and connection to what you're doing with the Commonwealth Games as well. So first of all, thank you. So the origin story of the World Reimagined, so it started when I met my co-founder, Michelle Gale. And Michelle, you might know, an actor, singer, currently Hermione in Harry Potter in the West End. So Michelle and I met at an event that my wife and I hosted for Nelson Mandela Centenary in 2018. It was an event with Andrew Mangeni, who you can see over my shoulder there. And Andrew was on trial and in prison with Mandela for 26 years before he then, went and became an MP for 20 years in the South African Parliament, and was just a spectacular human being. And one of the things that night that Andrew spoke about when he shared the story was this idea and this truth that our reality is created by the decisions that we make every single day in every part of our lives, whether it's in our families, in our communities, in our workplaces. And those decisions in turn are shaped by what we understand about the world, what we understand about how we came to be here, what we understand about how we're connected, our ability to change things, what's possible, what's not possible. And so Michelle and Andrew spoke about that in the context of the ANC and the anti-apartheid movement. Michelle and I then spoke about it around the idea of, well, how do we make racial equality a reality in this country? How do we think about that? How do we think about the decisions it will take and the actions it will take to get there? And then how do we think about our understanding of the world and how we came to be here in this moment in time and our shared history? And Michelle came, and as you would have heard from the team, everyone's bringing their personal stories and their experiences. And it's really important. Alongside Michelle on the board, Michelle's the chair. You've got Lee Lawrence, a restorative justice campaigner whose mum, Cherry Gross, was shot by the Met Police in 1985, leading to the Brixton Uprising. Lee has been a campaigner for justice all of his life. We've got Ruth Buna, an educator and social campaigner in the Northwest. We've got Fiona Compton, artist historian. So everybody's bringing that experience, that expertise to the table. But to that first conversation, Michelle brought her history and her experience, which is, she's been a Black woman in the public eye for 25, 30 years. Her mum's community activist for decades in London. Her family came to the UK from Jamaica. Then my background and the story that I brought to that conversation was, I'm half German, half South African. Now, those societies have had to do some work, to say the least, right? And I think, as we thought about that, I sort of reference my personal history, which is that my granddad was Nelson Mandela's accountant back in the 50s and 60s. So in the 90s, I had this extraordinary opportunity, meeting all these amazing leaders. And I got to sit on the floor while my family talked about things like truth and reconciliation, about the need to process pain and trauma, if we're going to be able to move forward. And both Germany and South Africa have tried, imperfectly, but they've really tried to acknowledge that history so they could move forward. And growing up in the UK, it's relatively clear that we in the UK haven't had that conversation. I went through the English school system. All I ever learned about the transatlantic trade and enslaved Africans was that William Wilberforce was a nice white guy who ended it. And if that's going to be the limit of our knowledge, then it's going to limit what we're able to change as well. And that's what Michelle and I sort of spoke about that night. We talked about, for a whole nother year, which was, there is so much scholarship, so much knowledge out there. This isn't a question of discovering new stuff. This is a question of, how do we share that with more people? How do we invite more people into that conversation? There's a great Maya Angelou quote that says, just do your best until you know better. And then when you know better, you can do better. So how do we invite people to build their understanding, to know better, and do that in a way that isn't about finger pointing and blame, but as an invitation and says, you've got a role to play as well, you can do something. And when we then think about what they can do, to do that in a way which honors the community organizations and supports the community organizations who've been doing this for decades, day in, day out, working to make racial equality a reality. How can we uplift them? And so we talked about that for a year, and then we came across sculpture trails. Now, I know that you've had sculpture trails in Birmingham. They've been hugely successful and hugely engaging, and that's sort of what drew us to the idea of sculpture trails as a methodology, because it's about going to places where you go anyway, so we can reach people who are not necessarily looking for the conversation, and then using the power of art to say, join us. So that's where World Reimagined came from. I'm delighted to say we're now going to be in 7 cities from August to October this year, in Birmingham, in Bristol, in Leeds, in Leicester, in the Liverpool City region, in London, and in Swansea.
Thank you so much, Dennis, for sharing the mission. It's always really inspiring to hear how we all got here. So now I invite Chantel to share the framework that's really driving us on this incredible journey we want to go on, the journey of discovery.
Okay, so I'm going to share with you our journey of discovery. And in the journey, there are 9 themes, and they're at the core of everything that we do here at the World Reimagined. So our first theme is Mother Africa, and Mother Africa shares the richness of the African continent before the transatlantic slave trade. We became aware that far too often when the history of this continent is addressed, it starts at the transatlantic slave trade, and we really wanted to start at the beginning to really honor the continent's rich history and all of its influences on the world, from culture to fashion, art, science, philosophy, architecture, you name it. Our second theme is the reality of being enslaved. And this makes real the experiences of the enslaved African people, from their point of capture to their voyage through the Middle Passage, and then everything after. Our third theme is Stolen Legacy, Rebirth of a Nation. And this theme explains how Britain built its power, its influence, and its wealth on the work of the enslaved, something that we can still see across so many parts of British society today, especially when we consider our churches, the universities, and the foundation of the banks. Then the fourth theme is abolition and emancipation. Of course, we wanted to share the heroes and the allies, but we also explore the more complex motivations behind abolition and the difficult reality of emancipation once people are freed. Then our fifth theme is the complex triangle. This looks at Britain's more complicated relationship with the African continent, the Caribbean islands, and the Americas. So for example, something like Windrush, where we consider, people from the Commonwealth who were invited to the UK to contribute to British society, which they did. Then those same people, decades later, deported and rejected and just really made to feel unwelcome in their home. Then our sixth theme is Echoes in the Present. And this shares the behavioral, the psychological, and the systemic inequalities that are experienced every day. So all of those things are a direct consequence of the trade and of this history. And I guess whilst there will be people who will say, leave the past in the past, this theme very clearly shows us that this past directly shapes our present and is something not only to acknowledge, but also to address. Then our seventh theme is Still We Rise. And this recognizes those who resisted, and it honors the descendants of the enslaved who have succeeded breaking new ground in every walk of life, which leads us really nicely into our eighth theme, which is Expanding Soul. And Expanding Soul is a theme all about celebration. It celebrates the huge cultural impact of the African diaspora across the world. It's a theme about joy and vibrancy and the diversity that's expressed in all forms of art. Then we get to our final theme, which is Reimagine the Future. So with this theme, we wanted to consider the fact that we've now gone on this journey together. We've explored this history and we've acknowledged it, and more importantly, acknowledged each other. With this theme, we asked the very pertinent questions, like what is the future we can create together? And how can we create a future where there is racial justice and equality? So as you can see, our journey of discovery likes to take you right to the beginning before exploring our shared yet complex history, then most importantly, departing at a point of celebration, a point of hope and optimism where we're looking forward into the future. So I'll just hand back over to you, Carolyn.
Thank you so much, Chantel. It's really great to be able to share the schematic framework, which is really the foundation of all that we are doing at the World Reimagined. Now, please, you'll be hearing about the different strands of the program, but please drop any questions that you have in the chat, and we'll get to them at the end. So now I invite Dennis to join us and share about the artistic program.
Fabulous. First of all, our artistic director, Ashley Shawscott-Adjay, sends her apologies. She's traveling at the moment, so couldn't be with us. So she's asked me to speak on her behalf. So if you can imagine what I'm about to say, but like add 35% of inspiration on top, then you might be approaching to what Ashley's delivery would do for it. So at the heart, the foundation of World Reimagined is the sculpture trail. So as I try some technical wizardry and go back to the presentation, there we go. You can see our globe helpfully projected in front of or in Birmingham. So our globe is, this is a base shape. It's been designed by our founding artist, Yinka Shonibare, a British Nigerian artist who's done incredible work in exploring history and exploring the connection of cultures, and has done a lot of work with globes across his practice. And the reason Yinka sort of chose the globe as the base structure and the base sculpture for all of the artists to work with is that he felt that it rooted in the geography of the trade, but it also gives artists the broadest possible canvas to respond to those themes of the journey of discovery. Each of the globes is 1.4 meters in diameter. It's going to be about 1.8, 1.9 meters in height. So they're pretty big, and they're going to be 10 globes in the trail across Birmingham. Not all of them have a map. That was Yinka's choice for his design of his globe, which he called the World Reimagined, from which we took our name. So you're going to have 10 globes, one designed for each of the themes of the journey of discovery, and then a 10th globe where we're going to commission an artist to work with local communities to create a globe that speaks to place, that speaks to your experience, your voice, your ideas, your hopes, and really connects that trail with the people of Birmingham. That was really important to us. The trail as a whole is going to be about an hour and a half to a 2-hour walking tour around Birmingham. So we're really excited about how that's coming together as a experience for you from August to October this year. Now, across the country, we're going to have a total of 10 trails, and we're actually going to be creating 101 unique globe sculptures, and they're created through the artistic program that Ashley leads. So Ashley's brought together, a series of sort of different groupings, as it were, of artists. We've got principal artists, so alongside Yinka, we have people who've exhibited internationally, who've explored these subject matters and racial justice and history in their work. People like Zach Ove, Kamathi Donkor, Laquena McIver, Nicola Green, Maxim. This is an incredible group of artists who are featured there. Then we've also been supported by the Arts Council to commission 5 artists from the Caribbean, and they're coming to the UK for artist residencies, and they're going to be creating their own globes that bring the experiences of Bahamas, Barbados, Dominica, Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago into the World Reimagined. And then we have our open call, where we have an open call which we ran until the end of January, where we had hundreds of submissions from across the country that were then considered by our jury, and that features the Turner Prize winner Chris Afili, Zoe Whitley, the director of the Chisenhale Gallery, Rennie Musai, the senior curator of Autograph, and Professor Matthew Smith, who is the director of UCL's Center for the Study of the Legacy of British Slavery. So extraordinary group of people, an extraordinary group of artists, and we've really focused on delivering really high quality art in this sculpture trail, because we need to properly honor the history that this speaks in, the story it tells, and all of the people, both those from generations past and the people who are working for racial justice now, that we honor them in an appropriate way. So we're really moved by the responses so far, and we are very much looking forward to sharing those with you. Now, at the base of the globe, as well as partner information and so on, you're going to be able to scan a QR code on your phone that's going to tell you about the artist, what the artist was trying to do, but as well as that, you're going to be able to find the learning globes that are going to be around Birmingham as well, which are created through our learning program. So I'm delighted to hand over to Chantal to take you through that.
Thank you, Dennis. So with our learning program, we've approached it in the same way as everything else. We want to do more than just give information. We want to create something that speaks to our young people, that creates a moment of real meaning for students and for schools. Something that makes our young learners think about how they see the world, their place in it, and their power to change. So we've created an offer to schools that comes in two parts. There's a classroom resources and leadership in teaching training. Our classroom resources were created together with educators, artists, and historians and subject matter experts, and people like Floella Benjamin, Professor Kahindi Andrews, and the cast of the West End's Hamilton. For primary schools, they cover the theme of Mother Africa. And for secondary schools and colleges, they cover all 9 themes of the journey of discovery. Now, alongside these classroom resources, we also offer leadership in teaching training, which of course gives tips on how to use the resources, but it also says to teachers, you're a role model and a leader for racial equality in your school, and here are some important insights to help you step into that role with confidence. Things like how to think about power and privilege, how to facilitate open dialogue, and how to become more intentional about putting your values into action. Now, this offer is shared with schools in 2 forms. There's the poetic program, where students respond with poetry and the spoken word, which will be shared across our platforms. And this is free to all schools across the UK. And then there's the Globe program, for which sign up closed at the end of March. And this sees schools across our host cities create their own smaller globe that will feature in their local community in places like libraries and shopping centres during the World Reimagined. After that, they will be returned to their school as a legacy. Now, 2 weeks ago, we had the 250th school sign up to a learning program, which is very, very exciting. And we're just really looking forward to how young children are going to be able to join this conversation with their creativity, but most importantly, with their voice. So I'm going to hand over now to Esther, who's going to explain our heritage program.
Hi, everybody. So alongside all of our other amazing programs of work, the main focus of the Heritage Programme is sharing the stories and histories across those 9 themes and making them publicly accessible as people explore the Globe Trails. So back when I studied history in Handsworth, I was told that you always had to question your primary sources. And one of the things about particular aspects of British history, and particularly our stories, is that sometimes the sources only come from one place or from one part of the argument. And what we really want to do is ignite people's curiosity and a passion for stories that come from multiple places and multiple voices, and from a really broad picture, to form a really broad picture of this really underexplored area of heritage and history. So we have been supported by the National Lotteridge Fund for Heritage. And so we're going to build the Journey of Discovery online collection, which will be a comprehensive collection of stories. And we want to work with heritage and cultural partners across the cities to really highlight and educate people on the connections and stories that might have been lost, obscured or erased, and bring to light past projects that people have worked on and share those tales of local residents, heroes, visitors to the city, you know, the musical history of Birmingham with Steel Pulse and the Handsworth Carnival, visits from people like Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, and really embrace those stories. So we're going to build collection that will include audio-visual content, but also written stories of about 200 and 300 words with images, and build on those stories and the work that's been done in places like Soho House Museum and Museum of Art, Birmingham Museum and Art Gallery, and provide something so that as people go around, they can dig a little bit deeper into those stories and those histories and really get some more learning as they come across and get to experience these really beautiful and amazing globes. So I'm going to pass back to Carolyn.
Thank you so much for sharing, Esther. It's always amazing to hear all the different strands. I'm particularly excited to see all the local stories that we capture, because I really do believe that that would drive the kind of impact and legacy that we really want this program to be able to do. So now to the part that sits at the core of the World Reimagined, the community. So we described the other pieces of the World Reimagined first because we wanted to give you the full content in which the community program sits. And we want to be clear that this is not a community program that is about what we do, but about how we honor what you do. After all, the entire point of the World Reimagined is to create a moment and a platform that honors the countless people and organizations who do the work of making racial equality a reality, and to support those organizations to continue the work and share it with more people. And so we developed the Inspire program, which invites you to host activities and events during the World Reimagined from August to October, which speak to our shared mission and we can showcase and promote far and wide. Now, we chose the word inspire deliberately because it's not about us, it's about you and the work that you do. So for those long committed to the work of racial justice, you inspire us with your expertise, commitment, and impact. And for those new to the mission and the subject, you inspire us with your openness and desire to step into the work and contribute. So together, you show us that progress is possible, hard, but possible. And with the support of the Esme Fairburn Foundation, we were able to appoint Garry to be our community coordinator in Birmingham City. And I am honored to now hand over to Garry to share a little bit more about how we hope to work with you in the coming weeks and months. Take it away, Garry.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. As you mentioned, I am the coordinator for Birmingham. So I have a very strong connection to the city, in that I was actually born and raised just half a mile from the city centre. Showing my age here, but quite a while ago, I've represented the city and the county in sports and youth activities. And I'm also glad to say I am a proud Brummie. And let's be honest, I can't hide it. My accent really does give it away. So I have to work with that. So, you know, one of the things that I look at, what attracted me to the World Reimagined as a community coordinator, I'm currently completing a BA Honours in Black Studies at BCU, which is another groundbreaking course right here in Birmingham. I also have a strong track record in delivering projects and programs immersed in African and Caribbean histories and heritage. I'm currently engaged in the World Reimagined, but have also been engaged in Black Heritage Walks since 2018. I'm a community partner in the delivery of Black History Month on behalf of Birmingham City Council, and I'm also a director of the Windrush Caribbean Film Festival and Recognise Black Heritage and Culture. And as I said before, earlier, you know, I'm totally invested in ensuring that projects like innovative art products like the World Reimagined are able to bring a new dimension to what we believe is already told British history. So let's talk about how we can support you with the Inspire programme. Let me begin starting with where we want to get to. Hundreds of thousands of visitors go through the trail and say, I want to do something or I want to learn more. We want to be able to connect you, to be able to say, it's an amazing organisation over there that you can connect with, or have you seen this event that you can go to? If we make an effective connection to promote your work, we hope this means you will grow your audience network and supporter base, reaching more people, which will have a lasting impact. That's why we hope you'll host events and activities during the trial period from August to the end of October, so that we can celebrate and promote them. They don't have to be new events. They can be, but they don't have to be. You're doing these things anyhow. We want to support you and share that work with more people. So let's make it real. These are the 3 ways that we can support you. The first is money. We have a grant pot of £8,000 for Birmingham to support you to host events and activities during the World Reimagined. Within that, we have 2 partnership grants of £3,000. These are for partnerships that either, 1, bring together a smaller grassroots organisation with a larger organisation to connect audiences and support the growth of the smaller organisation, or 2, bring together an organisation doing racial justice work with one that is new to it. This is to broaden out to people who are involved in this work and share expertise. In addition to those partnership grants, we have multiple micro grants of up to £500, make the hosting of events a little easier and more possible. Applying for the grants is of course open to anyone, but we will only have a select number we are able to make. We've worked to make the application process as easy as possible, and we've worked with Birmingham City Council to identify other funding opportunities you can apply to as well, in case you're not selected for these grants. The second way we support are regular workshops. Every second Tuesday, starting on the 19th of April, we're going to hold online workshops for community organisations across our host cities. Most of them will focus on skills-based topics with a range of people talking about topics including 1, applying for grants, 2, using creativity in your community engagement, 3, welcoming new audiences and encouraging allyship, and 4, taking care of your own mental health. Some sessions will also be about just connecting community organisations across the country, sharing your experiences, expertise, and getting to know each other. There's incredible solidarity and strength in our shared mission, and we know that it's often hard to connect. These online workshops are going to be open to anyone. Alongside these online workshops every 2 weeks, I'm going to host a monthly in-person workshop in which we will come together to share ideas, to connect, and to work out how we can make the World Reimagined the biggest possible opportunity for you. Third way we will support you is promotion. You'll be able to submit your events to us based on our, you'll be able to submit your events to our list on our digital platform, which we then promote to trial visitors and across our channels. This will hopefully help you grow your audiences and supporter bases. This is open to anyone who is hosting an event that is in the spirit of the World Reimagined. You won't need to have received the commission or taken part in the workshops. We want to share and celebrate the full breadth of work for people doing racial justice work. And so those 3 ways of supporting: money, workshops, and promotions. We hope that organisations across Birmingham will host their events and activities that we can share and celebrate, and grow the community of people who get involved in the conversations and work of racial justice long into the future. That's the Inspire programme. But that's not all. It's important to us that the community at the heart of every project that the World Reimagined does. You've already heard about the community globe. That will be the 10th globe in the trial. But we will also work to, over the next year, connect community organisations with our heritage partners, with schools, and with our corporate partners, so that the relationships we have built during the World Reimagined benefit you in the long run. That also speaks of what happens after the trial leaves the streets of Birmingham. First of all, the community globe is going to be gifted to the people of Birmingham as a lasting legacy. We're working with the council to make sure that this is done in a way that it stays accessible. The majority of the globes will be auctioned off, and the money raised will go to make sure our learning programme and Journey of Discovery history collection stay accessible. But the majority will go to creating what we hope will be a 6-figure grant-making programme for racial justice projects and organisations across our host cities. So you'll be able to apply for that in early 2023. So we hope that's whether it's in support or the connection of the hundreds of thousands of visitors to the trial, or in the longer term grant making we're working to raise, we hope that you'll see an opportunity and something exciting in the World Reimagined for you. And with that, I'd like to hand back over to Carolyn.
Thank you so much, Garry, for sharing that. And if you do want to go and meet Garry on the first in-person event, that will be on the 27th of this month at the Egg Bastion Community Centre. We will be sharing those details in the chat. So please go ahead and ask questions. You've got the different strands and we can share some information with you, but obviously please do make sure that you share any questions that you might have after you've left this session to the Inspire email. So that's inspire@the-World Reimagined, and we will answer you offline. As I understand it, it's half term there. So if there is any colleagues that may have missed this opportunity, or if you know of anybody who would want to learn more about getting involved with the World Reimagined, we will be putting the videos of all our launches on our YouTube channel today, I believe, by the end of the day. So I'm opening up the floor for some questions. If I could ask to send any while we're still talking, I would ask, I think that one question that we have is 250 schools have signed up to the learning program. Are the schools found across the UK or concentrated in certain areas? If I could ask Chantel to answer this question.
Sure. So with regards to the 250 schools that are signed up, this covers the breadth of the UK, but in terms of for the GLOBE program, which the majority of those schools will be signed up for, that's within our host cities. We're expecting another load of schools to sign up once the globes and the trails go live. So we're hoping by the end of the year, maybe 400 schools across the UK signed up for learning programs, which would be absolutely amazing.
That's so exciting. Thank you so much. I hope that answered your question. And we have another question. I think it's about, yeah, who can apply and when can you apply for grants? So essentially, anybody can apply for grants, grassroots, volunteer, community organizations, sole traders. It's essentially that anybody who shares the spirit of the World Reimagined and has relevant events and activities. Applications are open on the 1st of May, and the deadline to submit your ideas is by the 31st of May. So please do start thinking about what it is that you would like to deliver. Maybe you have something already on the books, and share that with us. And let us know if there is anything between August and October. Like Garry said, we will be using our platform to promote events that are happening locally. So if you have a relevant event, we want to use our platform to share it. When and where is the Birmingham in-person workshop? That is at the Edgbaston Community Centre. I hope I'm saying that right, Garry, on the 27th at 6 p.m. So yes, please, you can register for that now, and you'll be able to meet Garry and really explore how you can get involved with the World Reimagined. Edgbaston, I've just been corrected.
Yes, Edgbaston. It depends which part you're from as well. It can be Edgbaston, but we'll stick with Edgbaston for the purpose of this.
Thank you very much for your help. Any other questions that are coming through? Please do drop them in. Got a couple of minutes that we could answer. What sort of events? I think I have another question here. What sort of events are you thinking will be best aligned with the project? Do you need them to be Birmingham centered, slavery focused, or more widely African British history? Now, I think what would be a really great starting point for you is to look at our journey of discovery, as it's the foundation, to see if anything that you are interested and passionate about delivering or engaging with this topic fits under that umbrella. It doesn't have to be necessarily constrained by the theme, but it could be your inspiration point. And events is a wide theme. It could be a talk, it could be a walk, it could be, you know, a performance, it could be anything really. It's just about how do we get communities to really engage with this. Excellent. I have another question here. How can our school participate specifically? Chantel, let me pull you back in for that.
Sure. So you can sign up on our website for the Poetic program. And that allows your students to respond to the themes through poetry and spoken word. And then at the, during the trails, we'll be sharing all of the poetry on our platform. And then within that, there are obviously the free classroom resources, which you can use in the classroom. And they are a really comprehensive, arts-based, really creative set of lessons with lesson plans and PowerPoints to support teachers and schools.
Amazing. Thank you very much for that. We have another question from Jonathan. Are you open to receiving ideas and propositions for increasing the digital reach of your work, as it is a fascinating program, thank you, that deserves large and effective communication that reaches as many people as possible? I would like to invite Saha to answer this.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I am very keen to work with individuals and organizations, and we very much want to be promoting the work that you all are doing as much as the work that the World Reimagined is doing. And yes, digital is one of the easiest and probably, in terms of accessibility, the best ways to get the word out there. So what I will do is I will drop my details in a message to you, and we can pick up on this offline.
Carolyn, you're muted.
Apologies for that. There's another question in the chat. Do you plan to extend the program to universities? I would like to invite Dennis to answer that.
Yes, in each of our host cities, we're connecting with universities. So, whether it's in engaging their students around, say, for example, some of the ways connecting to our learning program, but also partners more broadly. So, for whether it's in more commercial engagement partnerships and the sponsorship partnerships that we've got going on, which several universities are supporting, or whether it's engaging through their history departments and their archive and their collections, that they can contribute stories to our work. So we're excited to collaborate in quite a broad range of ways. I'm delighted to say that Professor Kehinde Andrews was part of creating our learning resources as he's Birmingham zone. So yeah, that's sort of how we're working together.
Fantastic, thank you so much. And there is a history program question, and I don't know if Esther would like to take that or if Dennis would like to continue. What about the history program? How would this be involved?
So I think if that's relating to people who are doing their own work and research, they're very welcome to reach out, and I would really welcome having conversations with them around ways in which they can contribute to the heritage collection as well, because we want it to be as robust and as wide-reaching as possible. So if this is someone's particular area of expertise and interest, then we absolutely want to engage them. And I believe they were talking about history in school as part of the curriculum. So I can pass that over to Chantal to talk about.
Sure. So in terms of the learning resources, with primary schools, the resources cover Mother Africa, and they cover a number of themes within that. So things from fashion, from art and symbols, to hair, and alongside that there is a historical element within that. And then when it comes to the secondary schools and colleges, for every single module, so for every single theme of the journey of discovery, there is a dedicated history lesson, which allows for teachers and students to kind of take that into a more broader project, exploring the history around the different themes in the journey of discovery.
Thank you so much, Chantal. I think we've answered all the questions that I can see, but of course, if you have any further questions, please do feel free to drop them onto the Inspire at the World Reimagined. Oh, one more question is popping up. 1 second. I'm just looking to see which one it is. Yes, as I was saying, until that question turns up, because I can't see it yet, you can just drop any questions that we don't get a chance to answer to Inspire at the World Reimagined, and we'll get the information to you as soon as possible. We've also dropped a link to the newsletter in the chat, so that is the best way to keep up to date with this really robust program. Question has come through. How would the engagement of the project be measured in terms of awareness and building of communities and organizations in each host city, and it's qualitative or quantitative? This is a great question for Dennis.
Fabulous. So we've engaged external evaluators, Armstrong Cameron, who are very experienced in qualitative and quantitative engagement and assessment and evaluation. So we're designing that at the moment. So obviously one of the big pieces is that they're working alongside, alongside us, independently, but alongside us as we create the program. So, in follow-up, for example, to this meeting and to other meetings and other community engagement meetings, we're going to be sending out light touch surveys. And so we're designing it into every part of the program to make sure there's a qualitative assessment around how it connects, how people's understanding might have shifted, how their capacity, all their awareness and knowledge levels have changed. And then that was also set alongside some more quantitative analysis, which will be really around, what is on the tin, like the numbers around trails, the numbers of people we've been able to potentially connect into events and so on. So that framework sort of being designed as we finalize the different program areas. But obviously, we're really focused on things like, how are people's understanding and capacity and skills growing? How is their reach extending? How are especially for community organisation partners, do they feel that they have being strengthened and supported, whether it's in expanding their network or potentially financially if you're successful on the commissions, or in terms of just connecting with one another, to make sure that we understand that in a really deep way throughout the process.
Thank you for that, Dennis. And we have one more question that we can squeeze through, which is, how do I apply for a Globe for Schools? Chantal, if you would take that away.
Sure. The sign up for the Schools Globe program actually closed at the end of March. However, I would recommend that you sign up for the Poetic program, which I think is obviously poetry and spoken word is a really brilliant way to get children and young learners to engage with all of the themes, and also being able to see that shared on our digital platforms and around their cities would also be, really great and inspiring for children. So although you will not be able to sign up for the Globe program, definitely sign up for the Poetic program. And I guess, you can always get the kids and the teachers in schools to find their own way to kind of get involved with some other kind of creative arts activities that you can do during the live trails.
Thank you so much. That's it for questions, I'm afraid. So please do drop any questions that come to mind to the Inspire at the World Reimagine. This is a great time to share with you this beautiful poem, the World Reimagined poem, which is performed, written, narrated by Keisha Thompson, who also happens to be our head of learning. Take it away.
In order to reimagine something, you need to understand what it is first. I thought the world was equivalent to the earth, but when you check the definition, the world means all of human activity. It's not about the physical globe, but about the physical nature of humanity. I guess that's where I've been going wrong. I've been trying to reimagine the world on my own, but it doesn't belong to me. You're not an ink drop on this lonely narrator's tongue. If I close my eyes this time, will you promise to come with me? You see, a dream is like a cloud, it's deceptively heavy. The imagination is far too vast for one person to explore. So come with me, whilst I try to reimagine once more. To reimagine means to take a mental picture, to take something that exists and put it in a different context, like a Benin bronze in a British Museum cabinet. See, I don't really want to make mistakes of the past. I want to make compost of inherited hate, and circular debates frustrate my fears until they're surpassed. So I guess that's where the re-bit comes in. Re means to go backwards and start again. For too long, we've been singing a song of denial and discomfort, tonsils thronging with the discordant sounds of a legacy gone wrong. We all make mistakes, but when you make a wrong turn, you can't keep driving straight, looking for change. So put me off. I won't be fueled by misguided pride and polished shame. I can no longer close my eyes when there's so much work to do. Put the nose back on the Sphinx. Take the myth out of Timbuktu. I want to reach down the back of the sofa of this society and fish around for all that loose change. Like Aloda Equiano to slavery's abolition. Samuel Coleridge Taylor to the classical music composition. Princess Sophia Duleep Singh to the suffragettes. You don't have to go far to see how easy it is to forget. No wonder my eyes don't want to invest in frivolous fiction when there's so much fact waiting for its recognition. I thought I could fix things by simply asking you to join me in the dark room of humanity, but photography, it's not a row of negatives waiting to be seen. It's about exposing what has already been. To reach the unknown, you have to retrieve, recall, rewild, reinstall, repurpose, repair, go back to the beginning, start again, but now do it with flair. The world reimagined is a lotus bud waiting to unfold. The world reimagined is bubble bath in the hands of a 5-year-old. The world reimagined is our story untold. And telling it won't be easy, but that doesn't mean it can't be fun. We can turn fossils into plectrums, reject all that humdrum stuff fed to us without question. No suggestion that the truth is a spectrum. If you're the Berlin Wall, I'll be the graffiti. If you're a scroll, I'll be the words of Rumi, because there's no song outside of our vocal range. If I set my mind to it, my voice is louder than climate change. So take a step back. Use what's there. Make it new. Duchamp's masterpiece Fountain was an upgraded loo, and it was actually discovered by a baroness called Elsa, to be completely honest with you. Like a Rorschach image, we all start from the same place, then come out with different perspectives, and where we've gone wrong in the past is our failure to respect this. The world reimagined is a gallery of things we were not sold. The world reimagined is a humble alchemist's gold. The world reimagined is our story untold.
And that is the wonderful The World Reimagined poem by Keisha Thompson. You can find a link to that poem on the first page of our website. And we will be sharing all the recordings for the launches on YouTube. So if any of you were able to, your colleagues weren't able to join, or you're already enjoying the half-term break, please do share and watch that. Thank you all. That is all the time we have with you. Thank you so much for joining us to hear our plans for the Inspire program in Birmingham City. We are so thankful to Birmingham City Council for their support, and of course, Sky, our presenting partner, as well as Esme Fairburn for funding the Inspire program. So if you haven't already, please share your details in the chat, but also check the chat for key details. Please go ahead and meet Garry on the 27th at the first in-person event. Please connect and follow us on our socials. And if you do have any questions that do come up, because they're bound to, try and send them ahead to Inspire at the World Reimagined. And definitely keep an eye out for the follow-up with all the information that you need. And if always great to just check out the World Reimagined website /what's going on to see what's happening. So I invite the team to join me back on screen as we say goodbye to everyone. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Really excited to work with you all, and we'll connect with you soon.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Have a great day.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Have a good weekend.